Hiya. Happy Freaky Friday if you're just tuning in. Do say hello in the live chat if you are on the stream. Hiya, how you doing? Hope everyone is keeping safe and well. Let us know who you are, where you are, if you're watching live. Just wait a little bit. But happy Freaky Friday. Ooh, it's been quite a week. Alrighty, I'll just get into this. Yep, I hope you've been keeping safe and well since my last video. And if you're new to the channel, welcome too. My name is Haney. I'm a spiritual astrologer. And if you are interested in getting a reading with me, you can look in the description below later. I'll put my details there. If you're joining the live chat, do say hello. I do like to know who's watching and I hope you're keeping safe and well. But today's quite a different one. this topic, this stream. So I am just going to get straight into it. It is, Aquarius season. And yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of shiz this week, these last few days, this week. And I just feel like it's time for me to kind of give a bit less of a frig about certain things and certain people and just be myself a bit more on this channel. And if I lose some subscribers because of it, that's fine. That's fine. But as you've seen from the title, this stream is going to be about Maren Altman, at least in part, in the kind of greater context of what I'm calling spiritual bypassing. It's not my term, but this idea of spiritual So hiya, if you're just tuning into the live, do say hello. I want to know also if you can hear me, but I always like to check. Yeah, so it's been a crazy week for me. So I might lose some subscribers for doing this, but I don't mind, really. Hiya, Chris. How you doing? Good to see you. I'll see you tomorrow as well. Good to see you. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Maren Altman. And as I said, this is going to actually start my series that I had planned for later down the line on spiritual bypassing. You know what? Let us take these. I don't know why I have these. Can you still hear me? You know why? Because I had so many meetings this week, so many readings. I'm so used to just like having them constantly in. It even sounds weird right now. Can you still hear me, Chris, and anyone else? Okay, hopefully you can still hear me because I did just take the headphones out. But yeah, so this stream, it's going to start this series that I had planned. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. This series that I had planned on the topic of spiritual bypassing. And I was going to wait to start this series because I have such a crazy schedule right now and such a long video of like to-do videos, request videos, and my own kind of interest videos. But based on what is happening like right now, the last couple of days, it's just caused my sort of benefit of the doubt patience to dwindle, and well, not just to dwindle, but to like jump right off the cliff, baby. So this is why I'm doing this now. But if you don't know who this or the title, Maren Altman is an astrologer who has hundreds of thousands of followers across her social media platforms, and who has recently caused controversy with an apology video that she released on her YouTube channel this week, wherein she touches on different people, different groups of people that she has in the past offended, specifically BIPOC, BIPOC astrologers, LGBTQIA plus people, differently abled people, indigenous people, poor people, Jewish people. So pretty much everyone who is not, like her, a well-off white woman who also has a large white cis male alt-right cryptocurrency fanatic following. Now, I'm not someone just jumping on the bandwagon without any sort of knowledge of this person. If you've been following on her Twitter or YouTube, I'm talking about, but and also I'm not trying to cancel Maren or participate in that, or like to tell anyone to do anything. In fact, I've followed Maren for years, and even sometimes I retweeted her tweets that I resonated with over the past couple of years. Yeah, I did get some sort of vibe from her work that that didn't sit well with me, and I'm not going to pretend I predicted that what happened this week would happen, that I knew, but I just didn't, like, I didn't know what it was, but there was something for me to pretty much keep that subconscious distance between myself and her work, but I couldn't put a finger on it. And this week it's been kind of revealed. I guess what this series is going to emphasize then more broadly is, yes, this idea of astrologers, of spiritualists, of teachers, healers, guides, whatever the frig we want to call them. And how time and time again, we find them purposefully or indirectly using their power, their influence to promote offense and discord. Or sometimes, I guess, just feeling like they can get away with it because of their influence, their power, or their following. And to me, there's something completely wrong with these offensive people who sort of amass a large following off the back of astrology, of astrological work. Because I really do view astrology as one of the methods that us humans, us people, can use to understand our spirituality. I often describe it as like a kind of language we're using, spiritual language, different to religion. And it's a method to understand our spirituality and to get closer to our sense of self. And to me, it's not meant to be, or supposed to be, something that is used to propel us up to some sort of astro guru status that inflames the ego and allows us to feel entitled to hurt other people, other astrologers even. Because this is some of the things that she's done. She's also attacked other astrologers. There are allegations that she's stolen the work of other astrologers. But anyway, essentially, if you have any type of influence in the astrological community, but you are being problematic not just once but several times and over years, and also to several different intersecting communities, then I'm sorry to say, but for me, that's like a pure abuse of your spirit and of your spiritual power. Now, if you're a Hinster, that I don't really think spirit or spirituality is a good or bad thing. Really, I just think spirit is, and we just are. But there are times when we sort of abuse who we are, and we abuse the powers that we have. But yes, back to Maren then. Now, if you want, you can go and watch her apology video. This video here, this stream, is not going to be an analysis or a response video to that whole thing. But my personal reaction was that it was very rushed, disingenuous, and it sort of felt like a kind of like panicked PR, public relations campaign that acts more as damage control than any kind of deep, meaningful gesture. I'm also not going to go through every single thing that she's done. I don't even know myself every single thing. And again, this wasn't, just to remind people, this wasn't like a little slip up, which we've all slipped up in one way or another in our lives. But this is something. This whole thing culminated as an amalgamation of several offenses, attacks that had just gone unaddressed for so long. And this is despite even the fact that, 7 months ago, Maren uploaded onto her own YouTube channel a video with a person of color. I think it was one or maybe two people of color, and talking about educating people on anti-blackness, or talking of the theme of anti-blackness. And so now it just seems that she forgot about that, or she didn't really learn from it, or maybe it was just a performative thing. I don't know. But in reality, Maren is just a small part of all of this, and it's just more a recent spike, I think, in the attempt to this kind of minority attempt to vocalize the dishonorable way in which so-called spiritual people have treated individuals. Most of these individuals, by the way, being people without thousands of people behind them to or downplay this treatment, or to help them, dismiss, play, whoever they're attacking. Now, some people have been saying in the different comment sections that Mara was a break because, one, she apologized, right? So surely that's enough, right? Because she apologized. And two, because she's young. So because she's so young, some people think that, well, she just doesn't understand. She just doesn't understand. So she should be let off or forgiven. But as I've said, this is far beyond the first time. And plenty people her age, and even younger, I've seen people her age and younger demonstrate an ability to be mature and to show good judgment, whether or not they have hundreds or thousands of followers. And three, this is another thing I've been seeing as well. Number three, the excuse, or I don't want to call it the excuse, or number three, the sort of common supportive comment on this is that this is astrology and that the stars don't discriminate. So this is astrology and the stars don't discriminate. Now, this one that I've been hearing is really kind of infuriating for me, because, well, there are so many astrologers on YouTube and elsewhere who refuse to get ethical, or to make race an issue, or identity politics on their platforms, as a kind of roundabout way to keep out any of their own personal responsibility to work on themselves, preferring to sort of see the astrology that they're doing as simply work. It's just work, something that is devoid of problematic potentiality. Because of course this is just me, right? Just channeling the gods, the divine, right? The cosmos. But to me, it's this kind of highly toxic idea that we all just need to get along, right? That this is a spiritual space, but not a safe space, and that we're all just the same, and that talking about your mundane individual experience of mistreatment is just the same as any other person's experience, and therefore, please, can you just be quiet? This kind of mentality is really quite common, I'm finding, in the white spiritual YouTube community, because white spiritual YouTube, to me, thinks that it doesn't need to be held accountable. It just feels like it doesn't need to be held accountable if their mistakes or their misgivings or their problematic tendencies are not directly related to the astrology. So if it's not astrology, I don't want to hear it. Or if my statement was not relating to astrology, as if they don't have a responsibility also to their audience, their own followers, who may be people within the same groups or identities of those who have been attacked by Maren Altman. And sometimes these white YouTube astrologers, these people go directly on the offensive, like Maren has done. And other times it's indirect and disguised as a kind of innocent encouragement of debate. Take Jordan Peterson, for example, who I mentioned on my channel quite recently in another video. But with Jordan Peterson, it's really similar. We have like this rhetoric and pseudo-intellectualism that has caused harm by other people to feel entitled to abuse non-binary people and trans people, even though it's all couched in this, no, we're just white men sat around a table philosophizing. I know what other white men do, so I guess you'll just have to deal with that yourself. Like, and yeah, I'm sorry to say, but sometimes some of our famous astrologers here on YouTube have encouraged the ideas of Jordan Peterson under this guise of astrological content, including Achyuta Bhavadasa and Hannah's elsewhere, others here. And sometimes these white spiritualists think it's totally okay to do things or to appropriate like Eastern concepts into the West, as if we're not in 2021 and these binaries, they really need to be being actively dismantled by now, don't you think? But a lot of this appropriation goes on, or that it's okay to be a white spiritualist and to smudge or to whip out the singing bowls, or to be a Vedic astrologer yet to be 0% open to discussion of race, identity politics. So there's that. Hi, if you're just tuning in, do say hello in the comments if you're watching. I'd love to know who you are, where you are, how you're doing, and what you think also of this topic of sort of spiritual bypassing or bystanding. The unfortunate thing is the video from Maren, which again, judge for yourself, please, before you accept it, and only accept it if it's like directed at you in the first place. It might, I think, despite it, it might have little change. It might do little to change the theft, the appropriation, the discrimination that quite a lot of people of color in the astrological community have experienced. And I say that it might not help if other bigger astrologers don't also speak out. And I'm saying this because, big astrologers like Chris Brennan, they're still following Maren on Twitter. And at least up until now, when I'm streaming this, he hasn't stated anything on this, even though he also has a video podcast thing that he did with her, I think just a few weeks ago, that's still on her YouTube channel. So, maybe he and others just haven't come to know of what's going on, or maybe they don't see this as an issue. And to me, if it's the latter, then I have to like call out that silence. And, Chris Brennan has over 37,000 followers just on Twitter. And you probably have come across his astrology podcast here on YouTube, that channel, where he has in the past invited people of color and LGBTQIA+ astrologers to exchange knowledge and ideas. So there's a huge like intersection of different audiences, different followings associated just with that channel. It's not only this though, but that these sort of big white astrologers, they are often viewed as authorities on astrology. And they are typically published, like in paper and digitally. They are published. And therefore, younger, more junior astrologers will increasingly be paying for their courses, and they will be training on their courses. And therefore, they'll be, if they remain silent, these big astrologers, they'll be trained under these complicit individuals. So to me, their like complacency it can't just continue. It's Aquarius season right now. It's the age of Aquarius as But unfortunately, though, Aquarian energy has led many astrologers to focus on this sort of zooming off to some other galaxy on a kind of Noah's Ark spaceship, like, because we're all one and it's not about differences, while being oblivious to the continued damage that whiteness is doing here all over Earth, and yes, in the astrology community also. And I often think that there's this trickiness about Aquarian energy, that we have pretty much everything we need to know by now. Like we pretty much have everything we need to know in terms of societal progress. All the information is there. Everything is out there for us to go and learn for ourselves, to teach ourselves, to help ourselves and others. Just like astrology, really. Like astrology is exploding now. And astrology is and should be available for everyone. Yet, the blazing contradiction is that I want to let go of the like entitlement residue of whiteness, just generationally speaking, or also physically, materially speaking. So, so much so that we defend this entitlement with this sort of we're all one rationale, trying to gaslight or bypass or dismiss these real issues that real people are experiencing on these real astrology platforms and community. We do share a lot of similarities. We do share similarities. And there might be white people watching this who are very evolved, and that's great. But we are on a global human race scale, still dealing with real problems of systemic racism, transphobia, homophobia, sexism, anti-Semitism, ableism, socioeconomic classism. Like there's so much we need to work on together through listening to each other and not simply behaving as though difficult conversations and uncomfortable realities can be erased if only we look to the stars. you know? But it's also not just about listening in silence. Each of us has a responsibility to call out inequity in the spiritual astrological community, to take our eyes off the telescope lens and to get our noses out of the sort of valence texts, and for a moment, just to bring all of it together, to join all the dots, right? We're talking about this a lot in Aquarius season, joining the dots, so that everyone is brought to the water, so that each individual can live, yes, express, but also world of real accountability. So you have to be accountable alongside the freedom of expression. And in a world where we are seeing other ideas and connecting with them, connecting with each and every other individual on a real level, and not only hearing ourselves or trying to put ourselves like ahead or above any one individual. So that's kind of my thoughts on this sort of Maren Altman thing, which I guess is kicking off early, my spiritual bypassing series, but I'll be back to continue this series with another video. I'll be talking about another topic within spiritual bypassing. So yeah, let me know. Give this stream video a like if you found it insightful, useful, helpful, or what I do, and leave me a comment on what you think about this topic of spiritual bypassing. Be respectful. I've had a lot of transphobic comments and other like just mean comments on my channel recently. So if you're that type of individual, if you're that way inclined, your comment will be deleted and I might have to block you on this channel. So just putting that out there. See you. Have a lovely weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.